Attention Bragg Creekers. This is a special edition of Bragg and Bout Business 2025 election episode featuring one of Bragg Creek's own March Kamachi, candidate for Rockyview County Division No. 1 Councilor. Brought to you by Cowboy Trail Brewery Cheers to the West. And hey, before we get to Mark, the good people down at Cowboy Trail are launching a brand new beer into the lineup, a Lock and Load Pilsner. Clean, crisp, straight shooting. Kind of like March Kamachi, come to think about it. Now available at the Hut down at the Bragg Creek Distillery. Back to Mark. We spent some time with Mark this week getting to know our local candidate. We cover a lot of ground from his time growing up picking blueberries and commercial fishing with his father, finding his path to becoming a successful creative in the marketing industry, his progression into entrepreneurism, finding Bragg Creek with his wife Tanya, all the way up to this second run for term as councilor in Rockyview County Division 1. A very likable gentleman with a clear vision of what the future could look like for Bragg Creek. His purpose? He wants to help his community and county. So, take a few minutes and get to know Mark better. Enjoy. Welcome to Bragg and Bout Business, Mark.
Thanks so much, Greg.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here. Well, actually, you're here in my domains.
It is, and you got a very nice office here. It's fantastic.
It's a good place to work.
Yeah. So March Kamachi, longtime Bragg Creek resident, close to 25 years, successful entrepreneur and teacher in the craft of marketing, committed to a life of service volunteering for several local committees and organizations, all focused on improving the life for local residents. Husband, father of two, avid golfer, musician, and an actor. Mm-hmm. You really do live the life of O'Reilly, don't you?
It's a creative life. We're only on this rock for a limited time, so got to make the best of it.
Absolutely. Well, that's great. So first question I want to get out of the way is, do you believe in Bigfoot?
Bigfoot. Well, I'm actually from BC. I think that's the birthplace of Bigfoot. Yeah, I do believe in Bigfoot, but at the same time, I want to see evidence.
Concrete evidence.
Show me some DNA or something.
Enough of the blurry footage.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. I get you.
But yeah, we need some scientific data.
I'm with you on that. So, Bragg Creek, you've been here for over 2 decades. How did you end up here? I mean, this going back that long ago, Bragg Creek wasn't what it was there is today.
No, Bragg Creek first came into the picture when emerging from the BC, from the Vancouver area. And it was an advertising agency that I was working at, Glennie Stamis. Great accounts. We had Whistler, we had Toyota, the Vancouver Canucks, Vancouver Grizzlies. And that's actually where I met my boss, my wife to this, Tanya. And it was at a time where, 2 of my buddies I was working with, the creative director and the account director, Bruce and George, good friends of mine, but in the office, those 2 were always like this.
Right.
And so it was actually came to a point where they go, Mark, you got to side up with me, or Mark, you got to side with me. So I was writing a letter to the boss. We barely had computers back then, but I was writing a letter to the boss saying, Bob, you got to get these 2 to stop fighting because I'm always in the middle. And by the end of that letter, I resigned.
Wow.
I said I have vacation coming, but I'm not about to, sacrifice friendships. So I had a buddy who had moved out to Canmore, and Tanya and I, let's go visit Ben. So we moved out. We came out to Alberta with our bikes and camping gear and said, let's take a little holiday. Went through Drumheller, Calgary, Canmore, Banff, all the tour stops. Got back to Vancouver, and there was a voicemail that said, hey, Mark, it's Eric. I need a creative partner. Do you want to come to Calgary? Work on a big account. Fashion account. Because at the time, Vancouver wasn't on the creative map like Toronto, New York, LA were. And so I thought, fashion account? Yeah, let's do it. It was Mark's Work Warehouse.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. I mean, Calgary had all these head offices because of oil and gas, and Mark's Work Warehouse was here. So we thought, let's pack it up, move to Alberta.
That's worth it.
And I'd done work as a freelancer from BC in the past with like EPCOR and EdTel Mobility and things like that. So sort of familiar with the demographics. So we moved to Calgary thinking, let's give it a couple of years. Well, we immediately fell in love with the people, the lifestyle.
A little different out here.
Absolutely. And actually the weather, it was a game changer because I will take sunny and minus 25 over, 5 degrees in rain. Unless you lived in Squamish. And I lived in Squamish for a bit. And when it rained, you walked into the forest. But when you lived downtown, yeah. And 2 years became now, we're like 27 years, 23 here at Bragg Creek. Our daughters are raised here. I guess I'm an Albertan now because I've lived here the longest in my 30 years on this planet.
No doubt. I mean, in the matter of, a few years I've been in Bragg Creek, and then I've been in Alberta for, getting close to 20 now. Nobody's from here.
I think nobody's from
They're all from
nowhere.
somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But yeah, my wife and I, Tanya, just loved it here. And every weekend we'd come out to Bragg Creek, whether it was a hike, bike. And one day we were driving down the road and saw this open house and we just fell in love with the house. And we actually met the people who were selling it and they fell in love with us. In the meantime, we had just finished building a house in Calgary.
Yeah.
So we had to make a big decision and we thought, yeah, let's move to Bragg Creek. I think it was for a while there, we were carrying 2 mortgages because of having a city that people weren't moving to at the time. But yeah, and never regret that move.
Well, it's beautiful. And this is where you've lived and the whole time you've been out here.
In Wintergreen, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it is gorgeous up here. And the cell phone reception is sometimes a little spotty too, which is okay. That's okay.
Don't get me
Get a little
started on
quiet.
cell phone and lack of fiber.
Right? I know. When we started looking out here, that was a big consideration because I think we were looking in Elk Valley in West Bragg. And yeah, they told us right away that there's cell phone reception. We both work from home. So it's like, yeah, that's going to be a little bit sketchy.
Again, if you move from a big center like Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, and you move to Bragg Creek, you don't even think about that.
Take it for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know people who moved here and went, we don't have internet. I was like, ugh, blame the realtor. Because you don't have, you have to have a septic field too, or some people have to pump water.
Yeah, it's a different life living in the country.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you loved it. And you raised both your daughters here.
Yes, Nikki and Maya. Now
Nice.
we're almost empty nesters. One lives in Vancouver.
Wow.
The other actually returned home last night from a trip to Europe. So she's ready to move on to Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary. She wants to pursue her master's degree. So
Excellent.
yeah,
Excellent.
once she gets that going.
In marketing, or where did she?
No, so she was the go-getter, and she was in high school a ski racer. So
Okay.
she went to the national sports school. And then when came time, like, oh, gonna get a scholarship to some university to ski. She came out going, Dad, I don't want to go to the States if it means a scholarship. I want to go to university here. And we said, okay, that's
We're
a lot
good with
cheaper.
that. Yeah, a lot cheaper.
Yeah, skiing's not cheap.
Oh.
The kid went and did 2 degrees at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Both in sciences, psychology and biology, or
Holy smokes.
something like that.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and now she wants to pursue a career in. Oh, she's going to kill me for this. It's genetic counseling.
Genetic counseling.
So it's fairly new, right? And so,
think.
but what's hard is she was a COVID kid. So her last year where she's supposed to be in university doing lab work and, getting her fingers all mucky with gooey things, she lost that. How do you do lab work virtually?
Pretty tough.
Yeah. So she's been, doing a lot of volunteer work with Children's Hospital, working as a server, manager, things like that. But she did this trip. She's going to go and now look at her master's. But when she ever had job opportunities, because it's a new emerging field, she's competing against doctors. So she's been working on a resume. So good for her. And then my youngest, I never thought I'd have a kid who'd follow in my footsteps and go to university go to art school. Just graduated from Emily Carr in Vancouver.
Fantastic.
And she's pursuing a career in ceramics.
Really?
So good for her. I'm glad. I don't expect my kids to I want them to get an education, whether that education is in a university or a vocational school like SAIT. Get an education, be good at something. Don't just think you got high school and you're going to make it. You can, but it's certainly a lot more work.
It is. And then you get a specialty and you kind of differentiate yourself.
I myself back then, many, 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 many years ago, a university degree got you a career, a job. So I was 2 years at Simon Fraser and going, why am I here? I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it was a girlfriend at the time said, Mark, you like art, you like doing creative stuff. And going, yeah, I don't want to be a starving artist. But I was a recreation manager at the time.
Oh, okay.
So the rec manager, I was responsible for organizing, basketball, volleyball, all the floor hockey, things like that. Yeah. And at the same time, I had to advertise this stuff. So I had to make the posters, do the newsletters. And I loved doing that kind of stuff. And so this girlfriend at the time said, go to art school. And I went, I'm not going to quit university to go to art school. But that day came when I went up to my dad and said, Dad, I'm going to quit university. And thinking I'm going to get kicked out. I go, Dad, I want to go to art school. And he goes, art school? That's still a school. Okay. And I went to 1 year at Vancouver Vocational School, Langara. And I had so much fun that I said, okay, I got to pursue a further education. And I put a portfolio together and I got into the Ontario College of Art and went and worked there, worked hard as a student there. And after my 3rd year, got a job opportunity, did my 4th year part-time and lived in Toronto for almost 10 years
Oh,
before.
cut your teeth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and before I moved back to Vancouver, where I worked with my first agency, and then a couple agencies, and thus ended up here in Alberta.
Beautiful Bragg Creek.
But yeah, nothing used to burn me more. I've worked at the Alberta College of Art and Design,
Mm,
which is now AUA, Alberta University Arts. But
right.
I did 10 years there as a sessional instructor. Nothing used to pain me more when I'm interviewing kids for admissions, and a kid would show up, and I'm going, "Hey, you're not 18, you're like 26. Why so late?"
Mhm.
And the kid would go, "My parents wanted me to get a real degree first." He says, like, "Oh, it's those parents," because I've managed to
Right.
40 years a career in advertising design.
Wow.
So
Yeah. And that's the perception too, right? Like a lot of it's a little artsy fartsy and
absolutely,
but I mean, marketers make the world go round.
absolutely,
Everything we are consuming on social media, television, there's a marketer behind it.
it's all about communications.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. But Bragg Creek and business and Bragg Creeks. We're talking, this is a kind of a special edition for Bragg and Boat business because we do talk about business, the local business in
Right.
Bragg Creek, right? But this is also election season for Rockyview County.
Oh, you're going there. Okay.
We're going there now. That's exactly. We're going there now. This is
Okay.
what we're going to talk
I'm
about.
an
Yeah, but I mean, your local Bragg Creek resident, longtime residents. I think it's important for people to understand as a candidate where you stand on a lot of political issues, and importantly, from a business aspect, just what you're seeing in the local community with regard to businesses. What's lacking, what we're doing well. Maybe you can comment on your take on that.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, my wife and I used to love coming out to Bragg Creek. Come for a bite, come for a bite, come for a hike, whatever. And the culture, the music, the artisans, things like that. So it's brilliant. But I think, we can be a little bit more polished. We could have nicer sidewalks, nicer wayfinding. And that's all happening. I mean, we've got this beautiful trail network out in West Bragg Creek. And when we were first out here, when you went biking, you went Highway 66.
Sure.
You went out there
Yeah.
to access trails.
Right. Yeah.
And but now since the flood, people are, I think it's like over 200,000 visits per year to the West Bragg Creek.
Easily. Easily.
Bragg Creek Trails folks have done an amazing job to really put us on the world map.
Yeah.
We used to, as I mentioned earlier, I used to live in Squamish, mountain biking capital.
Beautiful, beautiful area of the world too.
Yeah, so that's where I got all my stripes in mountain biking. And when I moved here, discovering the trails, like, wow, we have this amazing trail system here. And Ad Mackey used to sponsor the Testamental in Squamish, which is a grueling mountain bike race. Yeah, less than 10 years ago, we were sponsors there. Even though we're from Bragg Creek, we're sponsors there. And when people say, "Where are you from?" And we go, "We're Creeks," they go, "Oh, you guys got those cool trails." So again, there's been some amazing work to really not only mountain biking, but hiking and equestrian and riding and hiking, all that kind of stuff. So the gateway to Kananaskis, right?
That's right. Exactly.
And so, but I still think, I've seen Whistler grow. I've seen Squamish grow. I've seen we've seen Canmore grow.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Maybe
100%. Yeah.
too fast, but just for businesses to thrive. I mean, we had a business in the hamlet as well, and you think with all these people coming past your front door, there'd be better ways to access that audience. So
Yes.
I think that's one of the things I'd like to see happen faster.
Of course.
And we need help. Rockyview has this gem called Bragg Creek. sitting there.
Exactly. Yes.
And so let's start, beautifying it more.
Yeah.
Even more. But I mean, it's so nice to see now that we have, you walk into the Powderhorn, it's full. You walk into the Bav Tav or Italian Farmhouse, the parking lots are full.
Always full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that parking lot now is being occupied by, whether they're from Calgary or from Germany. There's people who are aware of what we have. So let's again with Dick Cotier's Gateway project. Why is that taking so long?
Right.
When I was on council, it was being pushed forward. Why is there not more cooperation, whether it's the province, the county, residents? Like, let's get this happening, because that is a good focal point.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems to me, and I've only been in Bragg. I've been in Alberta for close to 20 years, but in Bragg for just the last few years. And it does seem like Bragg Creek gets forgotten about a little bit in the county. I don't know if that's true or not. That's my personal feeling. I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but what do you think?
Part of it, when I was on council the first time, when we're doing things like budgeting, allocating money, whether it's recreation, infrastructure, things like that, we learned that we were kind of that part of Rockyview where per capita, I think more money went to us versus other parts of
Oh, okay.
it was kind of like Marsha Brady. Bragg Creek, Bragg Creek, Bragg Creek. Because every time we're talking budget, all the other counselors would be going like this. Like,
Really? Again?
and, personally, I think like something like our community center, beautiful structure, beautiful building.
Yeah.
It can be utilized more.
It's very underutilized.
Yeah, to me. And if it had a weight room, a gym there, I'd be using that all the time. If it was more structured for, when I played basketball in the evenings. I know I'm only 5'7", but I like basketball.
You probably kick my butt.
No.
Yeah. No.
But we play at the abandoned peak, right?
Yeah.
Why don't we have a basketball court or set up in a facility like that? So again,
perfect for it.
I don't know if it was planning or a different vision, a convention hall versus a community center. And we're going through that with Rockyview right now in the Springbank area.
Okay.
Because we have Springbank Park for all seasons and
right.
ball diamonds and soccer fields, skating rink. And I know they're going through that whole thing right now with regards to building a structure that pertain more to recreation or more socialization. So I'm learning about that as I campaign now.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Oh, thanks. Thanks. Yeah, I think you got it. There's going to be a lot more questions.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
Sure.
Yeah, we're going to weave in and out of politics and local interests and business and your personal life. We're going to come in and out of there.
As my wife and my creative partner say, I am a squirrel. That's okay. That's okay.
All right. So as a business person in Alberta in Bragg Creek, what were some of the challenges that you initially had to overcome with starting the business out here?
Well, with I'm in advertising design, so creative marketing. Actually, it was a benefit that we set up AdMackey in Bragg Creek. Originally, when I first came here, I worked for a big corporate agency, Young and Rubicam. Our big head office was in London, England, but I was a creative director for Young and Rubicam West. And our big account was a Ford Motor Company. So it was nice to have such a nice big client to work on. But when I got fired from that job, we'll talk about that later.
I had the question about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
But, I had a great support from colleagues in the field. And I had another job sitting on the table, ready to go.
Right.
People were saying, no, Mark, and so Tanya and I started AdMackey. And basically it was downstairs in my home. And we had like 3 or 4 people working with us. But in our business, our clients were from all over, from whether it was Wheatland County, Sundre, Okotoks, Athmore, Vulcan, a bunch of clients in the city as well as here. They go, we want, we'll schedule a meeting. They wanted to come out here.
Yeah.
It was a day trip.
It's a good excuse to come out.
Yeah. They come out, go for a bike ride, then we'd meet. Or it was like when I worked at the mountain. I got a ski pass, and every time the advertising brand manager there said, let's have a meeting. We go skiing together, then have our meeting.
Yeah.
And vice versa. That's what Bragg Creek was like. People would go, no, we're gonna come out. We'll meet at 3:00, and then let's go for dinner. We're gonna go to the farmhouse.
That's right.
Or go to the Tav, or go to the Rockies or something. So, it wasn't hard to set up business here because our business was very much remote.
Yes, of course.
So that makes it easier. It's not like we're relying on people driving down Balsam Avenue getting to the trails.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, our first office was in the Old West Mall.
Oh, okay.
It was a combination. We had our office similar to this. Actually, this is mirrored after the office we had in Bragg Creek.
Kind of open concept. And, yeah, nice.
And then our downstairs, at one point it was a t-shirt shop / internet bar.
That's pretty cool.
I think we were a little bit ahead of our times.
Well, and what year would this have been in?
Over 10 years ago.
Okay, so we're talking. Yeah,
I think so. Don't quote me on that.
Mid 2010s.
But so at that time, and we had decent internet down there.
Yeah.
So we thought, okay, do a membership. Yeah. But when COVID came along, my father-in-law who lives with us, we take care of him.
Okay.
He wanted to build we went, hey, if we're going to build a garage, well, above it where we sit now, let's build our studio. So we did that. Luckily, that's when COVID hit. So it worked out perfectly. Moved home to work from home. And again, being a business that you didn't have to have clients in 9 to 5, it worked out
really well. Yeah.
We've been around like 17 years or something. So
wow.
It's kind of cool. Internet and fiber's slowly getting better, but it's slowly getting better. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we could thank Elon for the Starlink.
I mean, those are, I guess, our only challenges.
Yeah. Cell phone reception, internet. Those are probably the 2 biggest ones.
Yeah, and I think the perception of Bragg Creek being so far away from Calgary.
I don't understand that. We're 20 minutes. But people think they're driving to the moon.
Exactly. I mean, when I had my office downtown, before AdMackey, I commuted every single day. I used to commute from Vancouver to Squamish or Vancouver to Whistler.
Really?
When I lived in Squamish, I commuted every day.
Yeah, that's a trip.
Yeah.
That's a trip.
That's
yeah.
how I learned to play harmonica.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So Ad Mackie, where'd you come up with the name? I understand ad and marketing, but what's the Mackie?
Okay. So Ad Mackie, going back to how I got fired story.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
Since you were going to miss it.
Sure.
Tanya and I were on a vacation one time somewhere down hot. And I get this phone call, and it's the general manager, my boss at the office downtown. Goes, "Actually, we're in trouble." I go, "What's wrong, Jim?" "There's an ad that people are pissed at." And so I was on vacation. My junior team, brilliant, creative people. Mark's on holidays. This little ad we have to do for the Lincoln car dealerships in Winnipeg. Why not? Easy to do.
Landau, Lincoln Mercury?
I don't know. No, it was actually all the directors, all the owners of Lincoln dealerships.
Oh, okay.
So it was the Manitoba Lincoln dealers.
All right.
And they took a Ford Focus. They did a street edition of it. Lights underneath it, mags, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So fancy.
Yeah.
And my creative team, at that time, the movie Fast and Furious was famous. And they did an ad, and the headline was "Drive It Like You Stole It." It was taken from the movie.
Sure. Yeah.
So this ad ran all through Winnipeg. The day that it was in the paper it's very close to the day that a 16-year-old or a young person stole a vehicle and actually killed somebody.
No.
So whether it was the verdict or whatever it happened on that day. So immediately it's like, holy shit,
Yeah.
That's so insensitive, Ford. How can you do that? And it was
How do you know?
media. Yeah.
How do you know?
It could have been. And so our Lincoln dealers, they backed us. Oh, well, you had no control, but the president of Ford at the time said heads better roll. So the president of the company, Young Rubicam, wanted to fire me and my general manager for this. And I was on vacation, and I'm going like, I'll take the fall. I'm okay.
Yeah. Save my team.
Yeah, because I had already had a job offer sitting on.
Okay. There you go.
And HR said, "No, Mark, we can't let you take this other job. We'll look after you. Do you want to come back to Toronto and work on KFC or Pizza Hut?" I go, "No, I did my 9-10 years in Toronto. I don't want to go back."
No.
And so they gave me a nice little package.
Okay.
To survive for a little bit. So
Sure.
When that came out, colleagues and that go, "Hey, I'll connect you with a friend of mine. They're starting a business." So all of a sudden, we had some business. When I was the creative director for Young Rubicam, as I mentioned, Ford Motor Company was our big account. So we're spending millions and millions every year shooting commercials, buying advertising, magazine ads, whatever. And anytime we're doing a series of television ads, they'd go out to tender to directors in Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Toronto, even LA. My joke was always, I'm from Vancouver. I want some fresh sushi. So it used to always be a joke. So when we came to coming up with a name for our company, Ad Mackie, salmon Mackie, cucumber Mackie.
Oh, yeah.
Forget the Mackie.
I get you. Yeah.
Yeah. And AD, ads, advertising, ads. But, I specialize in advertising design, the AD.
Gotcha.
So Ad Mackie came to be, and we worked on it took me almost a year on that logo.
Wow.
Working on it while we worked, and we won some international awards for it.
Yes.
And it stuck. But it was, so if you look at our logo, it's hard to see here.
Yeah.
But the black ring is the seaweed. The red is the guts, or it could be the salmon, the cucumber. But in our case, it's a brain, and the white part is the rice.
That is wicked cool.
So it's just a slice of sushi.
Very cool.
And that's the story behind it. Yeah. And the brain that's in the middle, it actually has a face on it too. So we call it, brain face.
Brain face.
And it's actually based on, you go to Europe or you go to Eastern countries, and you go to churches and temples. There's always a gargoyle.
Yeah.
So our brain has fangs, and it has fangs, and it has horns. And when I present a card to you, it's like,
yep,
present it that way, and I'm giving you good luck.
Ah, okay.
So custom that way. So yeah. Yes. And our business cards are. Here we go.
Ah, yes, there you go.
Yeah, it's so it's got a great story, and that's why I say when it comes to when we do work with people, always have a story behind it.
Yeah.
If you're a plumber, I'm not going to put a wrench in your logo. It's too obvious.
Right.
What's the story?
Exactly. Tell the story of it. Yeah.
Engage people.
No, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of thought that went into that. And as a creative person, that's a big part of what you do.
And it's hard to work on your own stuff.
Right. When you got a lot of other stuff to do. Yeah.
It's that too.
Exactly. Very good. Very good. All right. So let's circle back around a little bit to more about Bragg Creek. What do you love about living in Bragg Creek?
What's not to love?
Right.
We get to live amongst trees, deer, moose, bear, beautiful people, beautiful scenery. the rural lifestyle is ideal. And, I grew up as a little kid in a kind of a farm belt in the middle of the greater Vancouver area. So like, I just had to cross the bridge and you're at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Right? But
Get
you
the
cross
best
the
of both.
bridge, like it's rhubarb fields and cow pastures and things like that. So, yeah, I think people who come out to Bragg Creek all of a sudden go, wow, I'm at peace.
Yeah, right? It is.
It's quiet. It's too quiet.
Very quiet. All you can hear is the rumbling of the river.
Yes, but you don't want to be walking a trail and hear the bushes rattle.
No, you do not. You do not want that. No, exactly.
But yeah, like I said, I think I've always sort of wanted that kind of a lifestyle. I lived in Squamish for almost 10 years. That was very similar to here, and it grew. And if you go there now, they have big box stores. I don't want to ever see Bragg Creek like that.
No, absolutely
We are
not.
so fortunate. I'd like to see our culture polished. I want to see I like our trails have been polished. It's a little bit more friendly. It keeps people on trails versus them just making their own trails because
very true.
That affects, the wildlife, the landscape, everything.
Exactly. Yeah, good. So you're running to be counselor in Rockyview Division 1.
Again.
All right. So let's start off with what do you want people to know about you as a candidate in the election? Because you've been a counselor before in Rockyview, so you're running again. Is there anything to kind of start off what you would like to let the constituents know?
Well, I want them to know that just as a person, I care about people, care about things. I want to help when I can.
You seem to be a very down to earth person.
Like I said, we only get one shot at being on this rock. Make the best of it, right?
That's right.
Like you have a smile on your face.
Have a big smile. That's right.
But my wife and I, we like to give back to our community. Whether we were living here in Vancouver, we always volunteer.
You're a serial volunteer. I mean, you honestly, there's a committee or an organization at Bragg Creek, you've been on it, I think.
Yeah, and my wife has been on probably more than me. I like helping people. Yeah. As people have helped me in the past. I think just kind of that pay it forward thing. It was at a point where, I was on the Bragg Creek Chamber of Commerce. I was the vice president at the time, and our counselor at the time approached me and said, Mark, you should think about running. I said, politics? Are you freaking crazy? And I said, no, thank you. And another gentleman by the name of Bruce McAllister, who's with the government now. So he actually was doing homework, poking around, trying to find a candidate to replace that counselor at the time. And he goes, Mark, my name's Bruce. Your name keeps coming up, volunteerism, you're involved with stuff. And
100%.
So I went, yeah, not really interested. But he convinced me to go to a Rockyview County meeting. And I was watching this one agenda item where it was a young family, young kids. They just basically inherited the farm. A good thing. But at the same time, the mother-in-law was battling cancer at the time. So they were up before council wanting to subdivide or break off a piece of property to build a secondary unit for their mom to live, look after the kids while they tended to the farm.
Sure.
So I'm sitting there watching council debate, and some of them seemed like they're getting too caught up in the bylaw and the policy. And I was asking Bruce, can't things be changed in certain circumstances? He goes, of course. And so he just said, how would you vote? And I said, well, vote for the family. I mean, Mom, it'd be great for the kids to be able to spend time with grandma while Mom and Dad work the farm.
Yes.
And when it came down to a vote, it lost. And I just remember looking at that family and going, what do you do now? And so that was kind of the turning point for me. Yeah, if I can help people like that, then I'll run. At the time, though, I was very naive as to how much time was required for that job. Because I was told, oh, it's a part-time job. You're going to be the president of the chamber because you're the vice president right now. No, don't do that. Become a counselor. Plus, you get paid. And so I ran, got on board, and like I said, during the first year, it's like, oh my God, I have a business, kids.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it all. And and part of my, I want to help everybody. Someone called me and say, Mark, can you help me, kind of thing. And I almost quit after my first year. Because of the business. But the other counselors at the time said, Mark, we can help you. We can help you understand what's going on in different areas of the county. Because one of the things I learned early was when I was elected, I remember on my phone, someone had left me a message in the morning. So I listened to it, and that afternoon, hey, Bob, you left me a message this morning. Sorry, taking so long to get back to you, but I was in meetings, blah, blah, blah. How can I help you? And it'd just be this, hello, Bob, are you there? Councilor Kamachi. You called me back. You did leave a message, didn't you? And from that point on, it was like, yeah, people, especially as residents, don't understand the politics, the governance, all the rules.
It's true.
And so at that point, I went, yeah, I was in that boat too. I need help.
Yeah.
And that, if you're going to vote for me, you voted for me. This is why you voted.
Yeah. You want a voice at the table.
Voice. Exactly.
You're the voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, some councillors have commented about the fact that I get into the weeds, I get into the little things, but I love doing that kind of stuff. It's a reflection of my business, because if a client comes to me and say, I need a brand, we have to get deep and dirty into how do we build that brand, make it unique, or solve a problem that they come to.
Understand them.
And so my job was always, I felt that if Mr. and Mrs. Smith came to me and said, I think our driveway is about to collapse, the culvert's falling apart. That's on city land. I go, oh yeah, you bet. Let me look into that. I will help them navigate the solution.
And that's half the job, isn't it? Really navigating how to get things done.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what but I would sometimes get chastised. Mark, you're dealing with the little things. I go, no, those are the things that make a difference. It's the little things.
Yeah.
And so I always learn that.
Yeah.
When people just lately found out that I'm running again, because after that first term, I quit. I said, I'm not doing this again. I cannot devote the time without sacrificing my own family time, myself, my health. And my health was affected then too.
You can't do a good job for your constituents if you're not in good health.
And so, but this time I know what I'm getting into. I know what to expect. And I think I know a little bit more about how to help, and I want to learn more about how to help.
Yeah.
And again, like the one thing I always tell people, I will go to bat for you, and whatever your problem is, I will find the solution to hopefully help expedite things. But I might come back with an answer you don't want to hear.
Yeah, that's true too.
You can't build a nuclear garbage disposal backyard. Sorry, Bob.
Yeah, yeah.
But I will come back. We can try and change legislation at the same time.
And it's not about necessarily making everybody happy with everything. You can't. It's impossible. Impossible. But being able to just bring closure to whatever issue is at hand, so they know, or they know no is a better answer than no answer at all.
And that's exactly, right? You nailed it right there.
Yes.
You can't please everyone all the time, but if there's a sort of a heartfelt thing that I always say I can struggle with, is that you truly learn who your friends are. I've had to come back to people before and say, sorry, ain't going to work in your favor, because the majority of people, we live in this thing called democracy.
That's right.
Do not want a garbage dump beside you.
Right. Sorry,
even though you want a garbage dump or whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is.
And these people will not take no for an answer. And all of a sudden, and these are people you rub shoulders with, picking up garbage in Bragg Creek or at a supporting Swamp Donkey Theater.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're not your friends. Whereas there are other people who, I've come back with bad news, but they go, thanks for trying. Let's go for a coffee.
Right? What more can you expect?
Exactly.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
So that's good to know, because as a candidate, if you're going to vote for as a constituent, if you're going to vote for somebody, you want them to at least take your call.
Absolutely.
And it might not seem like a big deal to the county, but for that constituent, it is a big deal. And you want your representative to be able to take those concerns to council, or at least help you navigate them, as you mentioned. Nothing too small, too big.
No. And this day and age, we have this thing called social media. We have easy access to people.
Yeah.
It's cutting into my door knocking time, but if I can help one person and they can word of mouth, best form of advertising.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe I don't have to spend that time if somebody, like right now, I'm getting emails every day saying, hey, Mark, what do you think of this? Boom. I'll spend an hour or two researching it and getting back to an answer. Hey, Mark, I need a sign. I'll drive out to Springbank or Elbow Valley or Bragg Creek, wherever. Is more time consuming. At the end of the day, I want to meet someone face to face.
Well, that's how they get to know you.
Absolutely.
That's what you want.
Yeah. And that's where it's a little bit different from the past. And when I ran for council the first time, it was mainly Bragg Creek.
Right.
That's where the votes were. And then in Jumping Pound. But I still went out to the farms and, got chased by dogs and things. But I'm a dog person. So it's okay. This time, we're like upwards of 7,000 people between Bragg Creek, Elbow Valley, Springbank, parts of Jumping Pound. So
Holy smokes.
Wide area to cover. Wow. Acreages are so hard to cover on foot. Getting into these cluster communities, so much nicer. Yeah. And you talk to one neighbor, and if they support you, the word spreads, right?
Yeah. So the population of Division 1 is, you said, around 78,000? Is that?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And in the last election, how many people voted?
Oh, less than 30%.
Less than 30%. Wow.
Maybe less. So that would mean like less than 2,000 people.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So get out and vote, people.
Please, please.
Yeah, please get out and
It doesn't
vote.
matter who you vote for. Vote for, just vote. You vote because,
Democracy.
well,
Yes.
the municipal level is where you get to actually get one-on-one with your representative.
Exactly.
You know, or like I'm fortunate that, you know, I'm friends with our MP, but I was friends with him before I really realized that he was an MP. Like,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
got to know him because he was great for our community.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's an important part. Get to know your people.
you know, my daughters, when they came of age of voting, I said, girls, you don't have to vote for who mom and dad vote for. Look at the person. Look at the person. Do their values align with you?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing I say today.
Do their actions match their words?
I was door knocking last weekend in Elbow Valley, and I approached this house. And it was a nice warm day, so the screen door was open, and I go, "Hello, hello." And this woman comes to the door, and immediately she goes, "I go, hi. I go, hey, I'm March Kamachi. I'm running for Division One Councilor out here. Just knocking to get to know people. If you had any concerns, I could take to county." And her thing was, "Who did you vote for in the last provincial election?" And I went, "It's really none of your business, but I voted for the person that I felt would best represent my values, and he happens to be a conservative." She goes, "Okay, good. I can talk." Yeah. So I got past that. And then, so we had a pleasant chat, but she was like, not that she was scaring me, because she was very, very, she had her opinion. And then, you know,
Blue. Very blue.
well, but then she said, "Do you vaccinate?" And I go, "What do you mean?" It's like, "Yeah, I believe in science. You know, my kids, myself, since I was a little kid, I've had the mumps, measles, and all these things. Yeah, I do. And COVID and flu." She goes in a joking way, she goes, "You're a dimwit."
Oh my.
And I kind of went, "Why?" And she goes, "Well, you're watching all the wrong social media channels. You should be watching this." And immediately went,
Boy.
and I said, "Well, you know, where do you get your information from?" She goes, "I get it from this, this, and this." And I said, "Send them to me. I'd love to look at them, because if science and data can show me that there are better alternatives for anything, I'm willing to listen."
Open-minded.
Exactly.
That's great.
Things change, right? Things evolve. We grow.
That's right.
And so it was, you know, it must have been like a 15-minute conversation. But at the end of the day, she goes, "Thank you." And I said, "Thank you." But again, you know, yeah, maybe our political alignment was there to a degree.
To a
We
degree.
voted for the same party. Her values were way, if you're a Trump supporter, I'm sorry, I'm not, because I may align with, yeah, we need to have government that works for the people. We need to have cost cutting measures. We've got to spend wisely.
Of course.
But I would not vote for the guy because personally, he's
his values are not aligned.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah. Exactly. So, but yeah.
Yeah. No, you must meet all kinds of people door knocking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, in this day and age, it seems like more people aren't homes.
Oh.
I leave a door knocker, but
Right.
you know, when they do want to chat, we have great conversations, and you know, I'm trying to get a vote.
Of course.
But
yeah,
it's putting a face to a name, personality to a name, and I think it's huge when it comes to running for office.
Oh, 100%. 100%. All right. We've talked a lot. We said a lot of things.
I could go on for
we could talk all day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We could talk about marketing for a long time too. But so let's get back to the election and the priorities. So if you are elected, what are your priorities?
Serve the people. I mean, that's why people recently have been coming back to me and saying, "Mark, you should consider running again." And I like, "Are you freaking nuts?" But I get people calling and saying, "Mark, I know you're not a counselor, but my concerns are falling on deaf ears." Okay, let me see what I can do. Because I still have friends and allies at the county office, and I've been able to help people where they go, "Okay, what's your problem? Send me an email, and then I will forward it off to someone
the right person,
you and build that connection." Yeah. I'm not an expert at fire or engineering or traffic planning or accounting, but I'm an expert at communicating, hopefully bringing people together,
facilitating connections.
Yeah. So that's sort of my role. I'll say, "Okay, here, so and so meet so and so. I hope you guys work together. Keep me in the loop, because I want to make sure you're not ignoring each other or getting in conflict."
Right. Exactly.
Being respectful and finding a peaceful resolution. So that's one of the main things.
Work for the people.
Work for the people.
Work for the people.
And especially here in Bragg Creek, we need to grow. Obviously, grow sensibly, given we live in an environment that is very Mother Nature.
Yes.
We have a lot of seniors who want to live and die.
Yeah, they don't want to leave.
They don't want to leave.
No.
And why don't we have some densification in terms of putting duplexes or townhomes or condos, whatever will allow someone like me who lives on a 2-acre property as much as I love shoveling snow by hand and mowing the lawn by hand,
Yeah.
I'm a freak outlier that way. There are people who don't want to do that anymore,
Well, or they can't.
or they can't.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
and so having that option to stay and live in your community, and that's sad when I hear stories of people. I know people who have had to move to Calgary, or
Unfortunate.
they don't have.
So that leads me to the next question then. What we've seen so far from Rockyview in the last several years, at least from the perspective of being in Bragg Creek, is strategy versus reactionary planning. And I think a lot of the things that happen out here are more reactionary than planned. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter where you are. There's always lobby groups that have an agenda. Again, for me, just want to find the right solution, the speediest solution, rather than, when you hear things, development, whether it's development or whatever that takes 10, 20 years, like, oh my God,
Right.
what a waste of time and resources.
Exactly.
Let's find some answers. Or if we have to change the rules, let's change the rules.
Yeah.
Benefit everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. What would you say is one of the priorities regarding development in the Bragg Creek area?
Well, I think I just touched on it. I want to see Gateway happen, because that project, and I want to be perfectly clear, when I was council last time too, that project is a client of ours.
Okay.
So that kind of got me in trouble too. Like, I didn't vote on those projects.
Yeah, you absconded. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I'm not in favor of it.
It makes sense.
I want to see Dick's project happen, because it's going to bring, hopefully, again, housing for affordable housing, whether you're a senior or your family moving in. Because what's one of the things our businesses lack is finding a decent pool for employees.
Yeah, that's a huge deal.
There's nowhere for
not enough people to work.
Exactly, and they tend to be the young people. But we have this little gem of a hamlet, and it's designed for commercial residential areas. I would just like to see nicer I don't want to see signs everywhere. I'm tired of sandwich boards and these big black signs. Like, let's get some nice, it might have to be electronic or something, but something that fits in.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to see people come and be able to stay. I've always been promoting growth for the hamlet in Bragg Creek. When I was on council, we got that 4-way stop in because people were coming here and getting sick of the long.
I remember those days.
Yeah, so that thing is working. I want to see a better relationship with our Sutina neighbors.
Absolutely.
Because, we see down the highway, they've got a construction project going down right now. They have plans apparently for a new clubhouse at the golf course.
Okay.
They seem to be moving ahead with projects a lot quicker.
Oh my goodness. Well, look what they're doing on the east side of the reserve there. It's amazing.
Yeah. So let's work in conjunction to make this whole area work together.
Yeah.
Make it almost seamless. And so those are the things that I want to see, and especially those sidewalks in Balsam Avenue and White Avenue in the wintertime.
Oh my God.
We make people walk on the freaking road.
Right. They come up about 2 feet.
And again, it's sad because that was a problem when I was on council. And again, 4 years later, that has changed. So I'm learned from my own, I guess, political mistakes. But now that I have a better understanding, hopefully I can ruffle more feathers to get things happening.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a pipe dream.
Get things done. Yeah.
I don't know, but that's certainly, I've seen what has and hasn't been happening.
Yeah. Well, I think for Bragg Creek, having somebody that lives here, knows the challenges, knows what needs to be done. I think for local Bragg Creek people, being able to vote for somebody like that is tremendous value for us, to have a local voice at that table, because Rockyview County is massive. It's such a big county.
Almost 1 million.
Right. And so many stakeholders.
Square acres.
It's very easy for our issues to get lost at the table. So it's very nice to have somebody that is local.
Yeah. And Rockyview, has been prospering. We have this giant 1.4 million folk neighbor right next to us.
Right.
I think the last council has done a good job at starting to work with Calgary, because I remember when I was on council, there was a little bit of jostling going on.
No.
I think the past council has done some better work, especially the Balzac area, bringing in, business, which offsets the tax rate for us all.
Yes, but indeed.
Again, there has to be balance.
Let's talk a little bit about fire preparedness. So we've seen the incredible effects of wildfires, in the province and really across the country. What needs to be done by Rockyview County in this particular area? What is the challenges to get things done here?
Well, first and foremost, is we need that secondary egress. Right now, we just have Balsam Bridge, and God, in the event of a wildfire, emergency people coming in, residents coming out.
Oh, it's a nightmare. It's going to be a nightmare.
That's a dangerous issue in itself. Here in Wintergreen, the evacuation process is basically, if the forest is burning, grab what you need, head over to a flat area, and it's a helivac situation.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Well, we need to have that secondary egress road. And there was one in the making when I was on council, which
Right.
was out Wintergreen, but that has since, fallen
Yeah.
to the wayside. Recently, just with my own research, I've heard that, possibly a secondary bridge along the river, I guess south of the bridge, would be a great solution. It'd be a pedestrian bridge for tourists and visitors to,
Idea.
take in the river, access across, I think it's right near the roundhouse is,
Right. Yeah.
things like that. And then, but, in the event of emergency, so that one could be for safety of residents, one the other access will be for emergency. But we need something that
We need something.
we're next to go. It's not a matter
Oh,
of
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's when is it going to happen? And because I know I remember one time when I was on council, I'm on the golf course, and actually just prior to getting there was a Champion Lakes fire. So it was a fire, McLean Creek area,
Oh, okay.
and I remember getting a call from the fire chief, first responders. Well, I actually called in and said, "What's all that smoke?" And they said, Councilor Kamachi, just hang still. We got your phone number. We'll get back to you and let you know what's going on. Because I was on my way to the golf course. I had a tea time.
Oh.
And so I was at the clubhouse at the top there, and the kids who are running the pro shop, they're getting calls from their parents saying, Bragg Creek's on fire. Get the hell out of there.
Wow.
I'm going, whoa, whoa, whoa. We're already panicking. So panic.
Yeah.
And I talked to the fire chief again, and he goes, go golfing. I go, oh, I'm not going to. Yeah, just go golfing. And I get it, because if I'm all of a sudden panicking up there, then it's going to make everyone else panic.
Creates some more panic.
We know where you are. We know how to get a hold of you. We have everything under control. Everything looks good, But again, the news media was just,
of course. Yeah.
But the fire chief was right. So everything was. But again, the panic that set in.
Yeah, human psychology.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
God, if it was a real fire close by, because look how many more people we have coming out here.
Well, it could be 10,000 people in West Bragg.
Exactly.
At any given time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure, and that's a huge priority for myself. And that could all be part and parcel of, polishing the hamlet and having wayfinding. We've got the berm now, right?
Exactly.
I was walking there the other day, and the amount of people using it to just stroll on the river.
It's fantastic. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Well, some people would say not.
Well, I mean,
but again,
you have to look at it in the bigger scheme of things, with being prepared for a larger flood again. And I think it's the best case scenario.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a compromise somewhere. Absolutely.
Well, from the limited research I've done on the egress, just finishing off that topic, it seems now that we're kind of back to square one with regards to where that sits with the county.
And I am going to make a good stink about it.
Good.
Not only with the county, but also with Sutina. I want to build a relationship there, because their residents are affected, because they live on this side too.
This side too. Exactly.
Some cooperation there.
Next topic, water security. So how fragile is the situation with regards to water security in the area?
Well, and again, we're witnessing it around the world. Climate change, how it affects water, but it's Mother Earth has to balance itself in there. And, we see things in, 100 or 200 years is a short span. In the long span of things, but given the amount of fires we've seen, this spring, the amount of water that came down.
Oh my goodness.
Things like that.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah. And the main water supply that heads down to Calgary comes from out here. So we do have to look at shit.
Exactly.
Be very careful. We're not over consuming, polluting our lakes, streams, rivers, and all that. It's a huge, huge, huge issue. And I'm learning throughout Division 1. I mean, people who have fire hydrants that are not working, not even up to code.
Scary.
Yeah. And here in Wintergreen too, like, there's fire hydrants that are for, they call them dry hydrants.
Yes, which is completely intuitive.
And as long as they're hooked up to a body of water where firemen can suck up the water when it happens. But there are some that are even not able to do that. So that affects our insurance, because we can't build houses with sprinkler systems unless you're able to have your own pond and water source and generators and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think, as we build new developments anywhere in Rockyview, we have to consider, how much water do we have, and is it enough to provide water for coffee, or our septic systems or sewage, things like that? Because the more people, the more demand on drinking water, sewage. So that is very important, and that's where I guess I have to rely on the biologists and the scientists and the weather climatologists and things like that
It all feeds together.
Yeah, I'm no expert on it, but it is a precious commodity because we have an agricultural belt here. Farmers need the water
Yes.
for the crops that we eat.
Yeah.
For the cattle that we eat.
Yeah. It's a careful balance to strike for sure. So let's talk now business licenses. Yay or nay?
Nay.
Nay.
I own a
Nay.
business
All
in
right.
Bragg Creek.
Perfect.
I mean, that's a simple answer. I guess that'll be something. I know it's a hot topic at county right now.
Yeah.
But unless there's real valid reasons for us to use it, it just seems like a little bit of a money grab.
A little bit. I think that's the impression when the county came through with their consultation process. That's what it appeared from the constituents' viewpoint and from business people. That's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah, we don't need government getting into our businesses and into our bedrooms and things like that. Let us learn and fumble our way through it ourselves. I mean,
yeah.
And if we need help, that's when we come.
Then we ask.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Oh, okay, that's good. So, from your perspective, what do small businesses need in the county?
Small businesses in the county, I think a faster process when it comes to getting permitting done.
Oh,
I hate the horror stories where, I got to put this HVAC system in. So you just put it in. Now the county has turned around and said, it's not up to code. You're the ones who told me to do it that way.
Right.
Things like that. I mean,
yes.
I've experienced it myself with building on my own property.
Oh, yeah. I bet you would.
The goalposts keep changing. Let's cement those goalposts.
Exactly.
Give everybody sort of the same set of rules. Let's just streamline the process. Because I know we as a county have a terrible reputation when it comes to development permits.
Yes.
And getting projects moving. And I think a lot of that has to be streamlined. And you know what? It goes back to when I was a councilor. We used to have access to administration. So like in the big picture, you have all your councilors. Our only employee is the CAO, who in turn runs all the departments, engineering, environment, all these different departments. So when I was first councilor, we had access to, if I had an engineering question, I can go to the head of engineering. If I had a planning question, I can go head of planning. Politics is, excuse my Japanese, fucked it up in that we had some councilors who abused that privilege. So all of a sudden the boss of that department said, sorry, councilors, you have to go through me now. And that
red tape
costs money, takes more time.
Yeah. Slows everything down.
But I'm lucky to this day, and I don't know if I should be saying this, but like I still have friends I've made in administration where I can go, hey, so-and-so, help me here.
Yeah.
Because we have a good relationship, they'll help me. And I want to see us get back to that. That's an internal thing.
Right.
But, I thought back then, it's just part of how I do things. Communicate, build a network, treat each other with respect, got things done faster for the residents. Yeah. Right now, it seems like it's just gotten to a point where way too much, let's say, red tape.
And from a resident's perspective, you don't see that, right? That's kind of behind the closed door stuff. You don't see that as to why. You're not given a reason as to why is this permit taking 6 months to get, right? And you don't understand the reasons behind why it is the case. So, yeah, that's.
I mean, and I know people will go ahead and do it now and beg for forgiveness later. Okay, but then you go to sell your property and go, oh, this building's not on real property port, or
that's right.
Your house is too big, or we just had an issue here in Wintergreen recently where a resident was trying to do something and another neighbor said, whoa, this isn't going to be good for the neighborhood. I don't want this. And they they called the county and everything, called their counselor and we're told that, sorry, it's been rubber stamped. It's a go.
Oh.
So that's when he came to me and said, Mark, is this going to happen? I go, no, there's an appeal process. We've been told, but I, as a neighbor who can also be affected by this, don't want this project going through the way it is now.
Okay.
The way it is now. And so we did a little letter writing campaign, submitted to the county. The county gave us an appeal date, and the applicant pulled their project.
Is that right?
So hopefully they're coming back with something that the neighbors will allow.
Because everybody, well, not everybody, but most people happy.
Well, you don't want to move into a neighborhood where everybody, kind of didn't want,
Yeah.
So it's a good solution. But
that's why the appeal process is there, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, if everybody did whatever they wanted, it would be a mess.
But again, the resident didn't get help from the council or the county, or not.
Right.
And that's part of the reason why I'm running again, because we need to educate the residents on and build that trust. Our MP has said to me, Mark, why am I getting calls from your residents? And I'm not the counselor.
Right.
telling me like Rockyview is all tough to work with.
Yeah. No, exactly. Well, it's good that you want to get back in the fight again.
Yeah, I do.
Right on. Okay, so we got a segment on the show that we call these three questions, and we've talked about a lot. We asked you a lot of questions already, but we're going to ask some more.
Okay.
Okay. So why do you want to be counselor for Division 1, Rockyview County?
I want to help people. I want to see things move faster.
Yeah. That's it. That's a good answer. I want to help people.
Everything in my life has been about helping people, whether
Yeah.
I was a teacher or a counselor or a creative director, or it's always about solving problems.
Yeah. Well, I think you said today, you've given us proof that that's the case, that you want to help people. Yeah. You're getting into it for the right reasons, which is nice. When it's all said and done, many years from now, when you're laid to rest, how would you like to be remembered?
Was that the guy on the Shogun show? He was the best actor ever. When I'm laying there at rest, that I spend my life helping people. It's my dad. It's I'm my dad's son.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank God. I remember one time, I don't know how old I was. I was in my 20s, and my dad comes upstairs. Well, he's up, he's off. I go, what happened? He's going, what else? I go, what happened? He was just sitting there, and all of a sudden he heard some rustling downstairs under the carport. So he goes downstairs and here's a guy going through my dad had a big garden, going through and taking vegetables and stuff and stuffing it into a knapsack. My dad's like got a bat or something. He's very,
My goodness.
and said to this guy, what the you doing?
Yeah.
And the guy says, I'm hungry. And my dad says, why don't you ask?
Yeah.
And because I think like he broke something to get at the
Probably. Yeah.
And my dad's like he broke the window or whatever it was. But dad just robbed you and you let him have stuff and let him go. And he goes, he was hungry. So for that, like I think I would have done the same.
Yeah.
I'm the type of guy who if I see someone in trouble on the side of the road, most likely will stop. I called out for it the other day, actually. Local. So it was about just over a year ago. And I was driving into the hamlet, and here was a guy who had slid off the road at the bend on Wintergreen Road.
Okay.
So I pulled over, put my flashlight on, ran up to the guy and said, are you okay? He was fine. He goes, but I can't get my truck out. So I didn't have a chain, but I had this tow rope. So I attached it to my Jeep, attached it to his vehicle, started sliding out, and this truck is sliding deeper. The side mirror was getting ripped off his. I go, are you okay if I keep pulling? He goes, yeah. And so as I'm doing this other guy pulls up and he goes, I wouldn't be using a strap like that. What if it snaps? So he went and ran down to where he lived on the reserve with a chain.
Nice.
So we attached that to my Jeep, attached to the vehicle, pulled it out, and the guy went on his way because he's meeting buddies to go biking. And so this guy had met, young man named Juan. I said, thanks for showing up. You made it easier. And when we started talking, and I said, wow, like he was a musician. I'm a musician. We started talking and we chatted about stuff. I said, okay, we're going to get together one day. The young guy. Well, the other day, because he's obviously realized that I've been campaigning, he called me out. Said, Mark, you say these things, but you don't do them. And I'm going, we're not friends on Facebook. I'm thinking it's spam or something. And I reply back, do we know each other? He goes, and then he recanted that story. He was the guy who came back with the chain. That was way. And he goes, and he kind of saved the day. And I said, guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. And he goes, and he was very honest. And it touched me. I said, Juan, thank you so much because, yeah, like you did what I was doing for that guy, helping. You're a helper.
That's right.
And for me to kind of not get back to you like I said I would, I'm bad. So we're going for coffee this weekend.
There you go.
And we could either, he goes, I'll give you a second chance. And I said, thank you. And I said, well, let's get together. We're going to jam. He's a fabulous musician, by the way.
Come on down to Powderhorn on first Tuesday every month.
We're going to get together and we're going to shake hands face to face again, share coffee, and just reconnect. And the fact that he's given me that chance again, because I was.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. Last question. How has your family supported you through life as an entrepreneur, your first term as a Rockyview counselor, and in your voracious appetite for serving your community?
I mean, I have Tanya. She's my manager, my wife.
Runs a tight ship.
Mother's. Right? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I think she's put on this earth to look after me. Yeah.
The going concern. There's no doubt about that.
I'll go speak. I want to learn how to skydive. Next, I want to be an actor. That's me. And my daughters, it's like, oh, dad's in that. But it's kind of cool that I remember pissing off my older daughter when she goes, "Dad, you have more followers than me on Instagram." But yeah, family support has just been tremendous. I wouldn't be doing the things if my family disagreed with what I'm doing, and they kind of let that leash go.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad's doing something else again. Whether it's family stuff, business, you got to surround yourself with people who support you,
So,
encourage you.
no, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right, some personal questions now. I'm just going to fire them at you. What's your favorite business in Bragg Creek?
Oh, that's a loaded question. So I could talk about clients. I can talk about my
I won't put you in that. You can say several if you want.
I'm a
I'm not
golfer.
gonna.
I love eating
Right.
food. I don't drink much, but I still visit these places.
Sure.
What is my favorite business?
Say you can't say your own business.
That's actually a tough question.
It is, yeah, especially when you're running else.
Well,
Well, I'm putting you in a bad spot. I get that. I get that. No.
Who are willing to literally put my lawn sign in their front window. Like,
it takes guts to take a stand up for
them,
something.
that is, and there's some businesses like, if you're not the counselor, I'm gonna still want to work with the businesses. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce.
There you go. Right. Next meeting Wednesday, October 15th, 7 p.m.
There you go. Yeah.
And there's going to be a candidate forum.
That's right.
That night too. Okay. So that maybe everybody want to be there for that. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Frog. Well, again, I didn't know what I wanted to be.
I didn't know what I wanted to be.
My father and my mother, but my parents always said, just be what you want to be. Especially, I'm going to go back to my father, born and raised Japanese Canadian. I'm third generation, but because of this thing called World War II, when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, my dad lost his education. You're Japanese, get off the coast. So he had to they had to go like 100 miles.
Right.
Words.
Yep.
And so my dad always said to my brother and I, you be whatever you want to be, just get an education, get that education. And so as I mentioned earlier, when I had to go to him and say, yeah, I'm going to Simon Fraser University, but I'm not enjoying it. I want to go to art school. That's a school. Go.
Yeah. He was okay with that.
And so, because I didn't know what I wanted to be then.
Right. Yeah.
And I want to be a creative director. I want to be a politician. I want to be an actor. I want to be a musician.
Yeah.
That's just me. I always want to try something different.
Try different. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. So that leads me to the next question. What did your parents want you to be? But it sounds like they just wanted you to be happy.
Be happy.
Yeah.
Be what makes you happy. And Tanya and I are the same with our daughters.
Yeah.
If you're a kid these days, oh my God, I would not know. It's just so hard.
So hard.
Not only just on what you want to be, but will you ever own a house? Will you own a car? Where's AI going to take you? Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's a challenge.
Challenge for the next generation for sure. What was your first job?
As a little kid, because we weren't a wealthy family, blueberry picking.
Ah, okay.
As a little kid.
That's cool.
Picking for like 5 cents.
I never heard that one before.
Yeah. So, and again, my dad used to say, the topic of immigrants in these days is so hot and so.
Yeah, sure.
But my dad used to say to me, I don't ever want you to complain about people taking jobs away, because there are jobs out there. If you're too good to work, do a job, that's on you.
Yeah, that's right.
But, my dad lost his education, so he had to become a farmer, then became a fisherman. As a blueberry picker as a kid, we went with my buddy's mom, and it was kind of fun at the time.
Yeah.
But I've been encyclopedia salesman. I've been a recreation manager. I've been a lawnmower dude.
Whatever you needed to do.
Whatever you had to do.
Yeah.
But I guess, where I learned the most is my dad being a commercial fisherman. When I was in high school, I was his deckhand. So was over, I'd fly up north to meet him. He'd up the coast fishing. I puked everywhere. I was a shitty deckhand because I always was seasick.
I would be too, 100%. Yeah.
But, I learned a lot because my dad, he was a fisherman, but he would get seasick too.
Wow.
But he had no choice.
Yeah.
He really didn't have a choice.
Wow.
Yeah.
The days before Dramamine.
Exactly. It was like I'd be working, pitching fish or picking fish on it and puking at the same time.
My God.
Yeah, it was just, I learned so much about how beautiful it was up there. Myself, about my dad.
Yeah.
Because you're on a little 2-man boat.
Yeah.
For like a month at a time.
Wow.
That's a lot of time to spend with the parents.
No kidding, eh? Holy smokes. What was your worst job?
My worst job?
Yeah.
First year of council? Well, kind of, because, but again, maybe naive, not really knowing what I was getting into.
Sure.
But my worst job, I was even a janitor at the community center I worked at. Like I would come in at 6 a.m. till like 9 a.m., clean toilets, wash the floors, sweep
Yeah.
the gymnasium, then change uniforms and put my, you know, recreation director shirt on. Even scrubbing shit out of the toilets was. And you take there's a takeaway from everything. I can't think of a worse job. Probably okay. I'm gonna say encyclopedia sales.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Door to door.
Door to door.
Oof.
Like we're talking like, there was no computers.
You had the big briefcase of
the new
sample?
book of knowledge.
Oh.
No, I only had to carry a couple. So I was kind of like, I'd go in there and make it, and I'm young, but
Yeah.
I go, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you're selling education. I use these myself because I'm a high school student.
Yeah.
And if they get interested, then the closer who's be sitting in a car out in the road.
You're just a fluffer.
Exactly. And the closer comes in and do the write up, right? So mine was like just trying to convince people.
Yeah. Get the interest going. Yeah. I loved encyclopedias when I was a kid. Loved them.
That's how I learned about sex education. My dad goes,
yeah. Well, that's National Geographic. That's what that was. Right on. All right. What was your favorite subject in school? Yeah, physical education. All right.
I like biology, but I hated the sciences.
Creative. I get that.
I never took art in high school. And
weird. It came to you later in life.
Absolutely did. Yeah. And I worked hard because when I went to the Ontario College of Art, I'm already 2-3 years older than the other students who were just out of high school. So if I didn't do well at this school, I'm back to finishing my degree at Simon Fraser.
What's your special skill? My
special skill?
Yeah.
Well, maybe my Japanese accent.
That is pretty good. It's a pretty good accent.
I think just getting to know people sounds.
But I mean, it's true.
I just love meeting and getting to know people.
All right. Have you ever been fired?
Oh yeah.
We talked a little bit about it. We talked a little bit about it, but
indirectly fired.
Yeah.
The company head office Toronto didn't want to fire me. They just wanted me to go back to Toronto.
And that's probably the gentlest firing I've ever heard. Like they didn't want you to go, but you kind of wanted to go, I think, by the sounds of it.
Not really, but
it was, you knew you had to.
That pool table, that's part of that story because the general manager, Jim, and I who worked, Jim had a heart issue at one point.
Okay.
And so I always said, Jim, the creative department needs a pool table. He didn't need a pool table. Why was it that? But when he had his heart attack, I was then the general manager, interim general manager. So the president of Toronto goes, Mark, is there anything you guys need? How about a pool table?
What a pool table? Yeah, that's interesting. Sounds pretty good.
When he came back to work months later, Jim, what the is that doing there? So when the office downtown Calgary closed down, I go, Jim, I'm taking the pool table.
Perfect.
So I bought it.
Nice.
It sits here.
It sits here. Well, that's good. That's a nice storage for that piece of furniture.
Creative table.
I'm sure lots of campaigns have been formed on
the pool table. It's got 6 cup holders.
That's right. Yeah. So, cool. Excellent. Yeah. Well, thanks very much, Mark. I appreciate the time coming on the show. I wish you the best for we got about a week and a half left of campaigning to do. Anything you'd like to close off before we finish up?
I just hope that you keep doing what you're doing because we need more stories being told in this community. We need to bring this community closer together. And I think with what you're doing, I've been thinking about things like this for years, but I just haven't had the time or haven't had that fire burning hot enough. But no, I think keep this platform going and bring people together.
My best.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks very much. Good luck in the election. The election date is?
October 20th. That's a Monday. But if you aren't going to be around that day, this week from 10 o'clock till 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock, don't quote me, you can go to County Hall or to cast your vote. Or on Saturday, Bragg Creek Community Center, you can go in there and early vote. So yeah, we're going to probably set up a little, for me on dump day. So yeah.
On dump day, yes, on Saturday.
Do your dump, then go to the community center and vote.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's good.
I just want to get people out. Voter apathy.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. Yeah. And I think these kinds of elections are really where you can make a bigger difference, because we all know how the federal elections kind of play out with Eastern Canada and how, it's kind of decided before it comes, to the West. This is something we can affect change with right here.
The municipal level. Yeah. Just, people come out and vote and hopefully vote for me and let's, live each day with a smile on your face.
There you go. That's right. That's right. All right. Well, thanks very much again,
Thank you,
Mark. And all the best. Thank you, Mark. And best wishes for you in the upcoming election on October the 20th. There are a few more opportunities to hear from the candidates on October 14th at the Elbow Valley Residence Club from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Division 1 candidates will be answering set questions as well as answering open questions from the community. October 15th, Bragg Creek Area Chamber of Commerce, Rockyview County Candidates Forum, 7 p.m. The Post House Inn, 36 White Avenue in Bragg Creek. As part of our Chamber of Commerce meeting, we're inviting our Division 1 candidates for a meet and greet and question period. October 16th, March Kamachi campaign meet and greet at the Powderhorn Saloon in Bragg Creek from 7 p.m. to 9. That's 7 Balsam Avenue in Bragg Creek. Come and meet the man behind the signs and enjoy an evening with chatting with Mark. Remember, get out and vote on October 20th or at one of the advanced polling stations, which includes the Bragg Creek Community Center on October the 11th. That's this Saturday, October 11th, from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Have a great weekend.